Hey, thanks for joining us for This Week in Jacksonville Business Edition. Our podcast focuses on, well, business in the region, economic growth and development. And really excited about this. Tyler Mathews is our guest for this episode. And Tyler recently getting a promotion, already president at the company, promoted to CEO. So tell us a little bit about England-Thims and Miller. And then I'd like to kind of dive into the company history and what you guys are working on right now. Welcome, Tyler.
Absolutely. Kent, glad to be with you. Looking forward to our conversation. Yeah, so you asked me kind of who is ETM, what are we? So the firm was founded in 1977, so almost 50 years ago we started. And today we are Florida's leading and preeminent infrastructure and development consulting firm. And so I had the privilege of joining the firm in 2016 and honored to be the fourth CEO.
Some people who are going to be listening, they're like, oh, I know about certain elements of development, but how do you describe infrastructure firm and what are some of those components? I know that you mentioned even Department of Transportation, a big relationship there, but what does that specifically mean when you say infrastructure?
Yeah, so we describe ourselves, Kent, as infrastructure and development consultants. And so I myself am a civil engineer, and we have a building full of all the trades you need to support infrastructure and development. And so whether that's engineering or landscape architecture or surveying or CI inspection, for example, our team is here behind the scenes working with anybody from a big utility provider like JEA to a big road builder like a city, a county, or the DOT to a private developer and helping any of those types of parties take an infrastructure or development goal and go make it a reality.
You mentioned almost 50 years. By the way, I'm sure in the background you guys are planning celebration in 2027 here.
Absolutely.
But what does this change mean for you? So as I understand it, you're already president, now CEO. What does that look like for you? And then maybe build out how big the company is and what your projects are like.
Absolutely. So what it looks like for me, first and foremost, would be in any leadership transition, we are very focused on just continuity and excellence for our customers and for our people. We're almost 400 employees today, 370 to be exact. And we started this transition 3 years ago when I took the president role, and Hugh Mathews, my father, was president and CEO. He retained the CEO title. I took president. And then this 3 years later is the natural transition. You know, it's fun to look at because literally that's exactly what Hugh did with Doug, who was the prior CEO. And that's what Doug did with Jim England, who was the prior CEO. And so here we are 4 times coming on a natural transition of president to becoming CEO and just continuing to create stability and continuity.
Yeah, Tyler, so before we move on from there, what is the impact on the workforce? What is the impact on those 400 people who are part of your organization when you can plan that out and within 3 years you see that, and it does hopefully tell each of them, hey, continuity, nothing to worry about here. We've got a plan and we're executing it.
For sure. I think it's exactly that, Kent, because you look at it and say, when leadership transitions take too long, the whole team is just getting anxious, right? Is the new guy up for the challenge? Is the person slowing down ever gonna transition? And often you see, especially companies like ours that are privately held local firms, really struggle with that transition. And for a lot of the team who are thinking, I need to trust this company for my livelihood, and then our clients who are thinking, I need to trust this firm to deliver to my customers, all of them are looking at it just saying, does ETM have their act in order? And are they going to keep taking care of business every day? And so from my perspective, my hope would be that this change doesn't change anything for our team or our customers. If anything, it just gives them further confidence in our stability and our ability to continue to execute at a high level.
So Tyler, new leadership often comes with new vision. Is that part of you, what you're offering now as the CEO for this company?
It is and it isn't, Kent. So, part of me says it sounds like a lame vision, but so much of our vision is just relentlessly executing for our customers. And we don't take for granted that our customers, both public and private agencies, wake up every day and have a decision to make on who are they going to ask to help them go accomplish their project. And so whether I'm JEA or a big private developer, I'm making that decision every few months to every few years. And we don't take for granted that we are the preeminent provider and the provider of choice, and we got to go earn that every day. And so our team is laser focused on retaining that bar of excellence and continue to excel at it. Now, what does that look like in 2024 and 2025? Well, obviously, AI and technology is changing, and we're doing more with drones than we've ever done, and our, all of our computing between offices. And I mean, there's all these things that are changing, but at its core, it's relentlessly take care of the customer, and that's been our core vision since the beginning.
Tyler, tell me about some of the projects that you all are working on right now here in Northeast Florida, or even beyond that small border of those spot counties.
Yeah, absolutely. So here in Jacksonville, and I'm a Jacksonville native, born and raised, proud to be back in the city. It's so much fun that we're able to touch so many keynote projects. And so here I think of everything that we're involved in, from the Stadium of the Future to the Four Seasons to the FIS Tower that was just completed, to a lot of septic tank phase out and small diameter pipe replacement the JEA is doing, to JEA repositioning their old asset beside the port called the Power Park. And then on the private side, everything from St. John's Town Center to Seven Pines to Wildlight to Nocatee to E-Town. We are privileged to be helping a lot of dynamic customers.
Yeah,
Really,
those are all those projects you just mentioned are the headliners of
sure.
some of the growth that we've seen over the last several years and are seeing right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we feel honored to be on those portfolios, and honored to really just shape the community that we call home. And so I think that's what makes my job really special is, even in my short commute to the office, I drive past multiple projects that are either ones that are coming or ones that have been, that we've had an opportunity to touch. So it's great to shape the city you live in.
Um, what has growth been like for the company in I don't know, the last decade or what have you? And how is that a different dynamic when it's a private firm? And in this case, we see that family heritage from your father transitioning, and we'll talk about him in a moment as chairman, but you taking over as CEO.
Yeah, absolutely. So, when I think about the transition and the heritage there, I really believe we stand on the shoulders of giants. And I believe that the men and women that have built this company for 50 years have given us this legacy to jump off from. And so you look at our growth today, and it's very much this perspective again of like, we just have to keep the bar of excellence high. And so we're very, very cautious in what projects we say yes to and what we say no to, so that we can keep that excellence high, and we can deliver for those customers that use us for their whole portfolios. And so when I look at that at growth, yes, we are growing, but I really look at it and say we're just matching the market. And so Jacksonville's growing, the state of Florida is growing, and so we have to grow our headcount to keep up. And oh, by the way, when you're a 50-year-old company, you have people who have been here for decades who are at the end of their career. And so we have to grow to backfill the talent pipeline so that they can have 10, 15, 20 years in the building to become a preeminent professional, so that then the baton can pass internally. And so we don't set a number on growth of, boom or bust. We will only be successful if we hit X headcount by X date. It's very much this perspective of, let's keep up with our customers, let's deliver excellence, and let's thoughtfully walk with them as they grow their books of business.
And Tyler, for you, where does the workforce come from? What are you looking for? And are the schools that are, pumping out talent, are they being trained the right way in order to fit in with what you do at ETM?
It's interesting, Kent. And I'm a young leader. I'm a millennial, and when I've been asked before, like, humbug millennials, humbug Gen Z, these kids don't know how to work. My perspective on that's been, you're hiring the wrong ones, because the talent that we've been able to hire, that are even all the way down to high school students today, have been dynamic. And so, I mean, we are doing everything from interning high school students part-time while they're in school, or also summers, to interning college students while they're in class, working 10 to 20 hours a week, all the way through a pipeline of, kind of mid-career professionals. And so, I mean, the core part of our pipeline, the core talent generation, is a robust high school and college program that is just producing tremendous talent for us today.
And so you're looking for, like you, civil engineers, or what kind of expertise really fits in?
Absolutely. So, the core professionals would be civil engineering students, landscape architects, geomatics degrees, which are surveyors, geospatial degrees, which end up in the GIS department, and then it's kind of other variants of either engineering planning or construction management. So all those people naturally fit in our portfolio, but it's been really cool to see that we've had to get creative in hiring people from other walks of life and have brought them into our business. And so, you can smell talent or you can smell out somebody who's got hunger and drive.
Mm.
And so I can think, for example, one of our directors in our GIS business unit, he was an MBA with a mechanical engineering degree. So not somebody we would normally hire, but he was an operations leader at a biopharma manufacturing facility. So they were building clean rooms and shipping them all over the world. And he was looking to relocate from Ormond Beach to Jacksonville. And so happened to be somebody where you say, this is an incredibly smart young man. He understands the sciences with an MBA undergrad, and he understands leadership and management. Let's teach him GIS. And he's now a dynamic leader of that business unit. And so we've had to get creative and broadening. It can't just be a civil engineer, because if that's how narrow we're looking, we're not going to serve our customers.
When it comes to serving customers, I know the transition that you and I have already talked about, and the 3 years before becoming CEO after becoming president. This also means that Hugh Mathews makes a transition as well, and I see that he's leading into the future as chairman.
Yes.
What's the dynamic there, and what would you say the legacy is for your father, Hugh Mathews, when it comes to
Absolutely.
yeah?
So I think, Kent, when I walked into this originally, I hadn't anticipated the father-son dynamic of this transition, mostly because we're not a family company, right? Hugh was not a founder. He joined the firm in the early 80s as a young project engineer from Louisiana, and he worked for Doug Miller. And then fast forward, he became a senior partner and then ultimately became president and CEO. Obviously, I grew up around the firm, but me coming back into the business in 2016 was unexpected. It wasn't my original career path. And it also by no means was guaranteed that I'd be given this opportunity. Obviously, it happened that way, but I stepped in as a project manager working for Doug. And so nonetheless, I think I hadn't really thought through like the father-son passing of the torch dynamic that really hit me pretty hard. And it was fun working through that with my leadership team, because we can all experience the perspective of picking up a legacy that our parents have left. And so to be able to do that in a huge way with the firm has just been really special. The word that comes to mind, Kent, is we actually did a private video. We haven't aired it publicly yet, but I went and interviewed a handful of key clients that are friends of Hugh's, so also customers, and asked them to tell stories. And what they said about Hugh, and it was everybody from Chip Skinner to Maury Husseini of ICI to T.R. Hainline or Rogers Towers, all three very accomplished professionals. And all of them spoke about his impact as just a creator. And, the fact that when you look at the city of Jacksonville and you look at the state of Florida, the legacy of Hugh Mathews of a creator of a company, but also a creator of cities, literally, I think was just really special to pick that up and be able to carry that path forward. The one other thing I would say is I am so excited about his role as chairman, because Hugh Mathews and Doug Miller, both of them, their secret sauce is how we take care of our customer in this really boutique consulting role. And they're not just worried about engineering issues like what size is your pipe. While they are worried about that,
Sure.
they are your consultant on a real estate deal. And both of them have committed to remain in the building and be mentoring all of the guys and girls, the whole team in their 20s, 30s, and 40s as they're growing in this craft. And so I have two men that have been doing it for decades that are the best in this business who are mentoring our team that can carry the legacy forward. So he's busier than ever, but just has shed his really corporate responsibilities and is focused on just mentoring our craft relentlessly.
That's got to be a great asset for you
Oh, it
as the
is.
CEO and president.
100%.
So, final thing, how bullish are you on the growth and development that we're seeing in Jacksonville? When I moved here almost 15 years ago, it was like, yeah, we always have plans, but we don't really see the projects come out of the ground. We're seeing a lot of that right now, aren't we?
We are, and I'm biased on that perspective, Kent. I grew up here. I went to high school in St. Johns County. And so, I kind of saw, and obviously I had a behind the scenes view of the world as Hugh Mathews' son. And so, for example, I remember driving St. John's Town Center when it was a cow pasture and them talking about building a mall there. And then, poof, before your eyes, a mall happens. And now it's part of our normal life in this town. So I think I have much more a bias to say, no, Jacksonville, the whole MSA, the five county region, we've been growing and changing and transforming for decades, and it's happening before our eyes, and it will continue to happen. And so, I mean, we're looking at things that 10, 15 years ago, you would have never thought were possible, both in the urban in the urban core and then also in the suburban peripheral. But as the state continues to grow, as people continue to relocate to Florida, as Jacksonville is continuing to become a more attractive city on the national and international stage, I mean, in my opinion, it's more like, no, the city's been planning and growing, and we will continue that track record and that history. And Florida is a great place to do business.
It's got to be fun for you as a Jacksonville native to be part of that and to see those projects happen, right?
It is. And I think, I think the downtown development is obviously the one where there's been so many naysayers for so long. And so there, I think there's kind of a special feather in the cap where I feel honored that we're on the team of everything from the work in Brooklyn to Gateway Jacks and their big development on Pearl Street to all the things the Jags are doing, because and Baptist Health, and there's many others. But I look at those and say that downtown, there's been so many naysayers. So there, it's really fun to see the momentum. I was on a call this morning on the University of Florida Jacksonville campus, right? And that's been in the headlines. More announcements will come the next few days. But I think in that regard, as a Jacksonville native, I'm very excited on the momentum and kind of more broadly known momentum that's accepted on our urban core. But as long as the state keeps growing, as long as we remain a great place to do business and have great state politics and local politics to encourage that, I'm bullish on the state of Florida.
Yeah. And when it comes to the naysayers, as you put it, I think it's probably just part of a microwave society. We want it yesterday, and these things take time. And I know that you're keenly aware of that. But Tyler Mathews, our guest today. And Tyler, congratulations on the promotion as CEO and president now at ETM, and appreciate just sharing some of your perspective today. And for every one of you who've been watching or listening, thanks for watching This Week in Jacksonville Business Edition. You'll find this wherever you get your podcasts. So like, subscribe, follow, and new episodes come out every Thursday. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Kent.